You said it's you and Joshua here. Is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person.
A world champion. He's now being talked about as an opponent for Anthony Joshua. Can that fight happen?
I think the fight can absolutely happen. I'm looking at it as Jake versus Joshua, which is quite biblical and it's quite impactful in many ways.
Reports are now confirming that Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is being lined up for January 2026. Sources close to the situation say talks are heating up fast. Jake Paul's manager, Nakisa Badarian, confirmed that early negotiations have already begun with Joshua's team and Eddie Hearn. Saudi boxing power broker Turki Al Sheikh is also pushing to make this fight a reality. Possible venues include Wembley, spots across the US, and major stadiums in the Middle East.
In terms of those active discussions, how far have things progressed? Is it something that you can see happening next for Jake and for AJ?
I think we're looking at it happening in Q1 of 2026 is kind of the current discussion. I think it's public that AJ was taking a little time away. I think he had a little surgery. So once he's ready and once Jake is ready, we're going to squarely focus on that.
There are some concerns, aren't there, within the boxing world about Jake fighting someone as powerful as AJ. How much of a worry is that? We saw what he did to Ngannou.
So power is obviously the last thing to go. So obviously AJ has a ton of power and he's still fairly young.
After defeating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Jake Paul didn't hold back. He teased a massive fight with Anthony Joshua, saying it's very likely to happen next year. Paul said the two have been messaging privately, and Joshua even suggested they do the fight at the end of 2025. Paul's manager echoed the hype, calling it a biblical matchup and confirming that active discussions are underway.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that, we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026.
Anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Paul isn't just talking, he's making moves. Right after his win over Chavez Jr., he said loud and clear that Anthony Joshua is next. He called Joshua out on his podcast and repeated that same message after the fight. Jake made it clear he's targeting one of boxing's biggest names and he's not backing down.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know I will beat. Knocked out, right? Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. But I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David Benavidez.
Jake Paul believes this fight would be a huge boost for boxing. He says it brings in new fans, fresh energy, and worldwide attention. Paul even claimed that legends like Joshua, Tyson, Fury, and Pacquiao know what he brings to the sport. He says boxing needs a shakeup, and he's the guy to do it by pulling in a younger, broader audience.
You said it's you and Joshua here. Is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person, which are always fun. But it's going to happen, and it's just such an exciting fight that crosses the whole globe. When you ask a lot of people about certain boxers, they don't know their names. And everywhere I've been going, I just talk about Anthony, and I don't have, I'm global, so it's just such a good fight for the sport of boxing. And people will think I will die, but I will show them why I can rise against all odds and beat him.
Everyone's been wanting to see happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight. And what I mean by that is politics, people trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Eddie Hearn has also confirmed that talks are seriously underway for this fight, targeting early 2026. He mentioned that Joshua is set to return to the ring in late 2025 after recovering from elbow surgery. With Saudi Arabia showing strong interest, the chances of this mega event actually happening are looking better than ever.
The discussions with AJ are as follows. We will be ready to fight November, December. We are planning life without Jake Paul. But if that is for real, of course, we take that fight in a heartbeat. I don't just think Jake's doing it just purely for publicity, but at the same time, will he actually do it? We'll find out soon, but we're up for it. But we can't just live in the world of waiting for Jake Paul. So we're going to fight December, maybe early January.
Still, Hearn didn't hold back when it came to warning Paul. While he agrees this could be a huge moneymaker, he also stressed how dangerous it would be for Jake. Taking on a heavyweight like Joshua is not a joke, and Hearn made that clear.
Jake Paul could last 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua. 3, 2, 1. You've seen he's called him out, presumably.
Yeah, in 2026. I mean, that's like me saying I'm going to go for the gold at the 2028 Olympics for surfing. It's clickbait, but he might just be mad enough to have a go. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. I mean, you saw a guy who has the same size as AJ and who has much more ability than Jake Paul, which is Francis Ngannou. And you saw what happened to him, and that was scary for a while. So, yeah, we can joke about it, but I don't recommend it for Mr. Paul.
I like Jake. He's a good promoter, very good promoter. And he's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humour, got good people around him, the key, so they know their business. There's a massive weight disparity, and that's a tough thing to give away, especially with somebody who's got so much physical advantage over him, and he's a young guy, AJ. He's not an old guy, he's a young guy. Will it happen? Who knows? Anything happens sometimes in our sport. But I think that is a big ask of Jake beating him. Big ask.
Where are you on this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake Paul, it doesn't sit. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it personally, but it's good talking point, I guess.
Responding to people calling it a fair fight, Hearn pushed back hard. He said there's nothing evenly matched about Jake Paul going up against AJ. From a promotional view, he understands the hype, but from a boxing standpoint, it's a complete mismatch.
He's been with AJ and Frank Bruno up there, the past, the current. So you're in now, son. You're in the deep end, and he's a good kid and a great fighter. I'm sure people are going to love being part of the journey.
Yeah, I know you're in a bit of a rush there, so I'll move on to Tyson Fury. I'm sure. Are you shocked that Tyson Fury announcing he's going to come back to ring? Did you expect him to want Usyk rather than AJ?
I think that he's always going to want to avenge a defeat. I mean, look, he feels that he won both of those fights. You know, I thought they were very close. Don't think he won them, but you know, maybe he does fight Usyk again. We can't control what Fury does. I gave up trying to do that years ago. You've seen from the response online, no one's really interested in Fury against Usyk 3, and everyone wants the AJ fight. But the minute I come out and start saying this and saying that, it probably rolls us back. So what I'm going to say is, good luck, Tyson Fury. Do whatever you want to do. Hopefully, it involves giving the public the biggest fight the country's ever had.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh, well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him, and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
Last one, what next for Dave Allen?
Well, Dave Allen's been an incredible project the last couple of months. I mean, look, we've been talking to Deontay Wilder, we've been talking to Joseph Parker.
Tony Bellew, the former cruiserweight champ, didn't mince words either. He called the fight dangerously insane and warned that Paul's size disadvantage could lead to serious safety risks.
It's a possibility to happen.
Oh, yeah, it's a possibility that it's a possibility an alien might just land on this fucking grass now. It's a possibility.
Listen, I'm not saying the outcome of the fight, but there's a possibility that this fight could happen, isn't it?
You just said the word fight in the same sentence said Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. This is a guy who was on the Disney Channel, made his name big from the Disney Channel, and I haven't really slated this guy because I think he's doing some of the things he's doing for boxing is brilliant. This job he's doing with the women is fantastic. I went into a gym the week before he fights Tommy Fury, and there was 200 kids in the gym on a Tuesday night. Kids, he's a big part of that. I give him all the credit in the world. But in the same sentence, he's fought one live boxer in his career, and he lost. What would you say if I put Tommy Fury in with Anthony Joshua?
Paul's manager, Nikisa Badarian, addressed the size difference head-on. He said Paul walks around at 210 to 215 pounds, while Joshua comes in closer to 252. Still, Badarian believes Paul's strength and fast progress make the fight realistic. He pointed to Paul's recent heavyweight experience and even mentioned the Tyson fight to back it up. But across the boxing world, most pros aren't buying it. From trainers to former champions, many are questioning the fight's safety, legitimacy, and what it means for the sport.
Don't put it past Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua, as much as he's a monster, he's got a weak mind, hasn't he? So Jake could end up getting into it because Jake's got everyone eating out the palm of his hand. He's a very clever man. So
You really think he's got a chance?
why wouldn't he have a chance? Look how confident he is. I mean, come on. Like, Anthony would have all the pressure in the world, and if Anthony didn't do him with the first few punches, he'd start doubting himself in his head because that's what he does. But no, Anthony should win, shouldn't he? But that's
What do you make of Tyson Fury saying that he's going to put $1 million bet on Jake winning by
Tell
knockout?
Tyson to leg it, lad. He's retired about 50 times. What's he on about, mate? Just tell him to leg it, and I love him. If he walked in here, I'd obviously...
At one point, you were good friends.
I'm still good friends, but obviously if he walked in here, I'd act like I'm not talking about him, but then on the camera I'm talking to him. Is this not what we're on?
No.
Is everyone not fake, or no? We all... What are we on here? Are we all acting like we don't hate each other? Like, come on. Like, what?
You're on absolute smoke today.
Shut your mouth, Tyson. Shut your trap.
John Fury, Tyson Fury's outspoken father, didn't hold back. He said if Joshua doesn't knock out Jake Paul, the fight must be fixed. He was fully confident that Joshua would destroy Paul. But Tyson Fury had a very different take. He said he bet $1 million on Jake Paul knocking out Anthony Joshua, calling it a real 50-50 matchup. The comment stirred up serious debate across the boxing world. Jake Paul responded by accepting the bet and even raised the stakes, offering $10 million on himself to win.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. Getting there. Protected. And he just done a great job over the aging Chavez Jr., who was a middleweight, but still. Sure. Yeah. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Who did he call out? Tank Williams and Joshua. That is crazy. That's what he called Richter scale call-outs.
Richter scale, I like that.
Simon Jordan had a much different opinion. He slammed the idea of Joshua taking this fight, saying AJ is a real-world champion and shouldn't lower himself for a crossover bout. Jordan warned it does nothing for Joshua's legacy and doubted if serious fans or broadcasters would even respect a matchup like this.
As a boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for £5 million? I never got £5 million for fighting anyone else in a fight. So it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years. I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'll probably still beat him with one hand. It's not. He's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him as a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does. He blows me out the water. That's his line of work. But you're stepping into boxing, another profession. Now, to call Alexa Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul. Forget Jake Paul.
A lot of tickets.
Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does. But Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua has earned a king's ransom.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be fiddle with this, does he?
Yeah. No, he doesn't. But again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, when is enough? And I get that. But when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last, now you've got more experience than me in this, dealing with a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last. It's the easiest money you'll probably ever make.
Joe Rogan chimed in on his podcast and questioned Jake's timeline. He joked that Jake wants to wait until 2026 just to bulk up. Rogan sarcastically suggested that instead of improving his boxing skills, Paul might be relying on getting bigger, or maybe even using steroids to close the gap.
They're talking right now about doing Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul.
I know, I saw that.
Jake Paul apparently wants that fight.
Yeah, that fight's not competitive at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good lord.
Yes.
Do you want that smoke?
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch night-night guy.
Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora didn't hold back either. He slammed the idea of Jake Paul getting a WBC ranking, calling it a disgrace. Chisora said boxers work for years to earn their spot, while Paul is climbing the ladder through fame alone. He accused the WBC of selling out its credibility for money, saying the whole thing is unfair to real fighters.
The WBC have said they're going to give a cruiserweight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers, to get those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Sousa decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his, in his back pocket. No, that is disgrace to boxing. That